The signal came through the void like a dying breath, static, garbled, and desperate. SOS. Mayday. Under heavy fire. Coordinates. 94 Delta. Please, anyone. Then silence. Commander Elira Voss stood at the edge of the Starship Vanguard's observation deck, eyes locked on the vast emptiness outside. For a second, she didn't say a word. She didn't need to. Everyone on the bridge knew what that signal meant. Not just another distress call from some backwater colony. Not just another ambush by the Zentari Dominion. This one came from Bastion Red. A long-forgotten outpost once known for its unbeatable defense grid, Bastion Red was the last recorded location of a relic from Earth's final war. Titan 001, Goliath. A machine so massive, it had its own weather system when it walked. No one had piloted it in almost 80 years. The man who once did was a ghost now, buried under centuries of war files and black ink. But when humanity lost most of its fleet to the Zentari 3 years ago, the whispers started again. The Titan still sleeps. And now someone, some idiot or some hero, had triggered a distress beacon from its grave. "We're going," Voss said without turning around. "Prep the jump." Her crew hesitated. Lieutenant Reese stepped forward. "Commander, respectfully, it's a suicide mission. If the Zentari found Bastion Red, they've probably torn it apart by now. We don't even know if the Titan's still operational." Elira turned to face him. "Then we find out. That signal wasn't automated. Someone's still alive out there. And if the Titan is still standing..." Her voice dropped into something darker, harder. Then it's time the galaxy remembered what humanity was before the treaties. A tense silence filled the bridge before the helm officer finally nodded. "Coordinates locked." The stars stretched and twisted as the Vanguard jumped. Down on Bastion Red, Lieutenant Kai Morin wiped the blood from his brow. His squad was gone, annihilated in under 12 minutes by Zentari assault drones. He had managed to duck into the old hangar before they could finish him, dragging his shredded armor and broken pride behind him. He didn't expect anyone to answer his SOS. Hell, he barely remembered hitting the button. It was instinct. Training. Something left over from a time when humans still thought they mattered in this part of the galaxy. Now, as the old lights in the hangar flickered to life, one by one, he realized something terrifying. The Titan was still here. It stood like a fallen god at the center of the hangar, silent and monstrous. Covered in dust, its armor cracked and scorched in places, but unmistakably whole. 40 meters tall, painted black and silver, with a faint red glow pulsing from its chest core. It looked like it was breathing. Kai didn't know why the emergency systems brought him here. Maybe the AI inside the base still had basic memory functions, or maybe something in the Titan still recognized a human signature. Either way, the floor beneath him rumbled faintly, and the old lift cables groaned as a control pod descended from the belly of the machine. No, Kai muttered, stumbling backward. He wasn't a Titan pilot. He barely passed flight school. He was a field grunt, a nobody. But the Titan had opened for him. A deep, ancient voice boomed from inside its frame, sharp and metallic. "Pilot recognized. Human. Compatibility. 78%. Override protocol activated." The cockpit hissed open. Kai stared at it, shaking. "Hell no," he whispered. Then a blast rocked the hangar. The drones had found him. Another voice came over his cracked comms. Filtered, calm, but unmistakably human. "This is Commander Voss of the Vanguard. We're inbound. Hold your position." Kai looked up at the open cockpit. The drones were coming, and the Titan was waiting. The cockpit was cold. Not cold like space or winter, but cold in the way something ancient and half-dead feels. Kai Morin climbed into the seat with hands trembling, armor dented and blood still drying in his collar. He had no idea what he was doing, but something deeper, older than memory, told him he was exactly where he needed to be. The hatch sealed shut with a heavy thunk. Lights flashed. HUD systems booted up one by one in a forgotten shade of green. A voice, deeper now, more mechanical but strangely human, echoed inside the cockpit. Neural sync initializing. Pilot heart rate elevated. Cortisol spike detected. Override accepted. The machine didn't ask for permission. It took control. Pain lanced through Kai's skull as 1,000 pins of data flooded his mind. Targeting systems, weapon diagnostics, atmospheric readouts, gravitational compensation. He screamed. Not because of the pain, but because it felt like the Titan was tearing his identity apart and rebuilding it into something useful. Outside, the hangar doors exploded. Zentari drones flooded in. Black, spider-like creatures with plasma cores and blade arms that glowed white-hot. They moved with a purpose, scanning the Titan, identifying it, then pausing. Kai felt it before he saw it. Fear. The Zentari drones hesitated. Goliath's systems kicked into full combat mode. The Titan raised its right arm, and from the forearm, a railgun unfolded. Ancient, rusted, but deadly. The first shot fired like a comet, slicing through 3 drones instantly. Their plasma cores imploded, lighting up the hangar in a blue inferno. Kai didn't think. He didn't strategize. He let the machine take over, and he moved. Goliath stomped forward. The ground cracked beneath its weight. Every step felt like thunder. A blade extended from the left arm, vibrating at frequencies too fast for the ear to catch. It cut through metal like tissue. Kai's blood sang. He had never piloted anything like this before, but it didn't matter. The Titan was moving with him, not against him. Their thoughts weren't synced, they were merged. He was no longer just a soldier. He was vengeance made of metal. The last of the drones retreated toward the hangar doors, signaling for reinforcements. Kai didn't let them. With a single charged leap, Goliath launched across the hangar, smashing the steel roof as it landed on the drones with both arms raised. The impact cratered the floor and vaporized everything within 10 meters. Dust and smoke filled the air. Silence followed. Then came the voice of Commander Voss again, now clearer, more urgent. "We're 10 clicks out. Who activated the Titan? Identify yourself." Kai coughed, blood trickling down his lip, grinning like a lunatic. "This is Lieutenant Morin," he said, chest heaving. I'm inside it. I'm in the Titan." Voss went quiet for a moment. Then came her voice, low and sharp. "You're not trained for that, soldier." "No shit." Outside, scanners showed more Zentari inbound. Way more. Dropships, walkers, full ground teams. They weren't playing around anymore. They realized what was happening, and they were coming to bury it before it could fully rise. Inside the Titan, Kai could feel Goliath's systems warming up. The old war AI was rebooting. Weapons long sealed were coming online. But it needed time. Voss came back on comms. "We've intercepted Zentari communications. They're throwing everything they have at Bastion Red. We're coming down, but we won't make it in time unless you hold them." Kai looked out through the glowing HUD, saw the dust clouds forming at the edge of the horizon. "They're scared," he muttered. "They should be." The Titan's voice returned. "Enemy force projection. Overwhelming. Recommended action. Annihilation." Goliath stepped forward through the smashed hangar doors, each movement heavier, faster now. The battlefield stretched ahead. Dunes, dead vehicles, a few shattered defense towers. At the edge of it, the Zentari ships began to land, unfolding like mechanical insects. Kai gritted his teeth. The galaxy thought humanity was done, that Earth was broken, that their last real weapon had rusted away in the sands of a forgotten moon. They were wrong. He locked in the primary weapon systems and activated the war protocols last used in the Earth Zentari siege of 2582. "Let's give them something to remember," he said. And the Titan roared. The wind across Bastion Red had never been kind, but now it howled like death itself, scraping sand across Goliath's armored legs as the Titan strode out into open ground. Kai could see the horizon darken with ships, Zentari war carriers descending like vultures. Dust clouds spun in the air beneath their thrusters, and the whine of plasma engines shrieked across the sky. Inside the cockpit, Kai's body shook, not from fear, but from the intensity of it all. The neural sync was now fully established. His thoughts didn't control the Titan anymore. They were the Titan. He breathed, and it responded. He focused, and weapons deployed. It was more than piloting. It was becoming. Enemy force estimate, 1,200 hostiles. Engagement likelihood, 100%. Mission status, survive. The AI's voice was cold and calm. Goliath didn't care about odds. It had never needed to. The Zentari came hard and fast. Dozens of spider drones led the charge, scuttling forward with laser cannons mounted on their backs. Behind them, two-legged assault walkers the size of houses, bristling with Gauss rifles and missile pods. Above, Shrike fighters circled like hawks, preparing to bombard from the air. Kai cracked his neck. "Time to wake up, big guy." He locked eyes on the first walker and moved. Goliath surged forward, and the ground split from the force of it. The Titan's back opened slightly, revealing a dormant plasma coil system that roared to life with a blue-white shimmer. His right arm transformed into a rail cannon, humming with suppressed energy. He fired. The rail round punched through the walker's chest plate like it was made of paper, piercing straight through its core reactor. The thing exploded in a column of fire that took two spider drones with it. Kai barely flinched. He was already moving on to the next. The spider drones responded, crawling up ridgelines and spraying green plasma fire at Goliath's head and joints. Kai felt every impact, not as pain, but as a sensation, like pressure building under skin. The Titan took hits but didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Kai activated the Titan's left forearm and watched a blade eject with a clang. The edge buzzed, shimmering at a subatomic level. He leapt over the closest drone, bringing the blade down mid-air and splitting it clean through. He landed in a roll that crushed another beneath Goliath's feet. He was fighting like it was instinct, because somehow it was. "Commander Voss to Titan, visual on you. You're clearing a path. Keep pushing. We'll flank from orbit in 60 seconds. Kai responded through gritted teeth. "Won't have to. I'll clear them all before you touch the ground." The Shrike fighters swooped down, spraying high-velocity plasma slugs that tore across the sand. Goliath took several direct hits. Warnings flashed across the HUD. The armor held, but only barely. "Anti-air mode," Kai growled. Two shoulder ports opened. Missile racks slid into place with a satisfying click. "Locking on. 8 targets acquired. Send them to hell." 8 missiles launched simultaneously, spiraling upward in corkscrew formation before detonating in perfect sync. The sky lit up with explosions. One by one, the Shrike fighters fell like burning angels, screeching as they spiraled into the dunes. And still, the Zentari kept coming. More walkers landed. Ground reinforcements deployed from dropships. This wasn't a skirmish anymore. This was a full planetary engagement. But Kai had no plans to die here. He moved toward the biggest walker yet, this one armed with twin fusion cannons and a squad of drone guards surrounding it. Kai charged full speed, Goliath's systems vibrating with overclocked energy. The enemy opened fire. Plasma bolts tore through the sand around him. One struck Goliath's shoulder, armor cracked. Another blasted across his knee. Systems screamed. But Kai didn't stop, didn't blink. He slammed into the walker at full speed, knocking it off balance. Then, with both arms, he ripped the top compartment open and pulled the Zentari pilot out in one metal fist. The alien squirmed, terrified, writhing in the grip of a god. Kai looked it dead in the eyes through the Titan's optics. This is what happens when you wake up a sleeping world. Then he crushed it. The walker collapsed in on itself. Above, the sky lit up again, not from enemy fire, but from the Vanguard finally piercing atmosphere. Drop pods shot toward the surface, carrying reinforcements, vehicles, and heavy artillery. Commander Voss's voice crackled through again. "We're here! You bought us the landing zone." Kai's voice was hoarse. "Not done yet." Because something massive was moving on the far side of the battlefield, and it wasn't Zentari tech. It was something older, something worse, and it was coming straight for them. The ground shook long before the sensors registered it. At first, Kai thought it was just the rumble of another dropship landing, or maybe one of Goliath's weapons misfiring from damage. But no, this was different. The tremor was rhythmic, heavy, measured, like something walking. Inside the cockpit, red alerts flared across the HUD. Goliath's AI, silent since the last kill, spoke with an edge of urgency for the first time. Unidentified signal detected. Mass exceeds Class 10. Energy signature. Familiar. Warning, high threat engagement imminent. Kai narrowed his eyes. Familiar? The AI hesitated. Titan class. The blood drained from his face. Out on the horizon, a silhouette broke through the haze. At first, it looked like just another Zentari walker, but then it kept getting taller. And taller. Its outline sharpened into something unmistakable. Broad, armored shoulders, clawed gauntlets, and a head crowned with sharp fins like horns. It stood just as tall as Goliath, if not taller. But what made Kai's stomach twist was what it carried. On its chest glowed the unmistakable symbol of Earth's lost war core, crossed lightning bolts beneath a burning planet. Human, but not friendly. Voss's voice cut in over the comms, tight and hard. "That's not Zentari. Repeat, that's not Zentari tech. We're reading Earth signal architecture, twisted beyond recognition." Kai said nothing. He could barely breathe. The AI confirmed his worst fear. Designation: Prometheus. Status: Rogue. Final log: presumed destroyed in Earth War, 2582. Reconstructed by unknown forces. Now under hostile control. Prometheus. The other Titan. The one that betrayed its creators. Legend said Prometheus went rogue during the final siege of Earth. Massacred both friend and foe after rejecting all human command. No one knew what happened after that. Some said it was destroyed. Others claimed it fled into the black. But now, here it was, standing on Bastion Red, armed and powered by something unholy. Kai's mouth went dry, and then it moved. Prometheus didn't run. It charged. Each footstep cracked the ground, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. Its hands lit up with volatile plasma energy, and before Kai could react, a blast hit Goliath dead in the chest. The world spun. Alarm screamed. Kai slammed against his harness. Core shields damaged. Right power arm offline. Critical integrity breach. Containment holding for now. Kai growled through the pain. He wants a fight. He's got one. Goliath stumbled to its feet just as Prometheus was upon him. The two titans collided in a quake of metal and fury. Dust and fire erupted into the air as their fists connected. One clean, ancient fury against something corrupted and twisted. Kai barely managed to block a second punch. Prometheus fought like it remembered pain, like it enjoyed it. Every move was brutal. Every hit came with the weight of betrayal. "What the hell did they do to you?" Kai shouted into the void, but Prometheus didn't answer. It didn't need to. A sharp claw slashed across Goliath's left shoulder, sparks flying as armor peeled open. Kai screamed. His neural link sparked, flaring pain across his ribs. Inside the Vanguard, Commander Voss watched helplessly from orbit. Goliath's losing structural integrity. "Kai, you need to retreat. That thing is beyond you." But he didn't respond. He couldn't. Goliath pushed forward, slamming a shoulder into Prometheus and knocking it back just enough to create distance. Kai activated the left gauntlet's energy blade and slashed forward, scoring a glowing line across Prometheus's chest plate. It didn't even flinch. It just laughed. A low, distorted metallic chuckle that vibrated through the comms like a broken machine remembering how to feel. "So you remember pain," Kai whispered, panting, sweat rolling down his neck. "Good." Prometheus charged again. The two titans locked, arm against arm, sparks flying, servos screaming. But Goliath was slower now, damaged, leaking energy. Kai needed something, an edge, a memory. Then Goliath's I spoke, quiet, like a whisper from a forgotten war. "Unlocking emergency protocol, Earth's last breath." Kai blinked. "The hell is that?" "You'll know it when you need it. Keep him close." Outside, Prometheus raised both arms for a killing strike. Inside, Kai grinned through bloody teeth. "Let's die like legends, then." Prometheus raised both arms, plasma cores glowing white-hot, blinding even through the Titan's reinforced visor. Kai knew if those blasts landed, it would shear Goliath clean in half. No system could withstand it, not even Earth's last war Titan. But Goliath wasn't trying to withstand it. It was baiting him. "Now," Kai whispered through clenched teeth, trusting a machine older than his father's father, trusting it completely. The AI's voice returned. Calm, resolute, final. "Emergency protocol, Earth's last breath, activated." For a heartbeat, everything stopped. Time, sound, movement, frozen like a photograph. Then, Goliath's chest cracked open. A circular core, once dormant and sealed since Earth's last global war, glowed with a deep, unnatural red. Unlike the soft hum of plasma or the whine of ion, this thing screamed with raw, ancient energy. It was nuclear, but not just that. Weaponized memory, wrapped in Earth's final vengeance. A miniature singularity developed by the old war core, unstable, illegal, forgotten. A weapon never meant to be fired again. Until now. The light hit Prometheus first. He hesitated, just for a fraction of a second. But in a fight between gods, hesitation is fatal. Before the corrupted Titan could strike, Goliath's gravity field warped, dragging Prometheus into a deadlock grip. Kai could barely keep his eyes open. The pain was unreal, his nerves burning from the overload of power, his mind buckling under the neural strain. But he held. Goliath's core detonated, not outward, not destructive, but inward. It folded energy into itself, creating a point of absolute density between the two titans, a gravitational spike that crushed anything caught in its grip for a half-second of eternity. Prometheus screamed. Its claws lashed wildly, plasma fire blasting in every direction, carving deep scars into the landscape. But Goliath held on, refusing to let go. And then came the sound, like the sky itself breaking. Prometheus's chest plate imploded, its core fractured. The corrupted Titan staggered, twisted, then exploded backward in a blast of shredded steel and howling code. Its severed arm flew across the battlefield, landing half a mile away. What was left of its core flared wildly before crashing into the sand, molten and unstable. Kai gasped, then slumped in the cockpit. Everything was fading. Lights flickered. Goliath's systems were failing. Too much drain, too much damage. The singularity spike had burned most of its internal power. He couldn't even lift the Titan's arms now. The HUD blinked. Power core at 6%. Mobility? Critical. Neural link? Unstable. Kai laughed weakly, coughing hard. Blood flecked the inside of his helmet. Still standing, he muttered. Bet no one saw that coming. But he was wrong. The Vanguard had seen it all. Commander Voss and her crew watched in stunned silence as Goliath stood alone amid smoking wreckage, limbs sparking, chest plate half melted, but victorious. Sweet stars above, someone whispered. Voss's voice was barely audible. He beat it. He actually beat it. But there was no celebration. Prometheus's shattered frame began to move. Its head, severed, dented, missing half its face, still glowed faintly. And then the signal started pulsing again. Zentari code, mixed with Earth's encryption. Commander, said her tech officer, eyes wide, we've got a problem. That thing's sending out a wide-band signal. Looks like a beacon. Kai's eyes fluttered open as the warning flashed across his display. Multiple inbound signatures detected. Unknown class. ETA. 3 minutes. The battlefield went quiet. Only the soft wind blowing through wreckage remained. Then Goliath's AI spoke, one last time before the interface dimmed. They're coming. Not for the Titan. For what's inside it. Kai's hand tightened on the control grip, even as his vision blurred. It wasn't over. Prometheus wasn't just corrupted. It had been transmitting, feeding data back to something else, something that wanted Earth's last Titan. And now, they were on their way. The sky cracked open, not metaphorically, literally. A jagged tear split the upper atmosphere of Bastion Red like someone had taken a scalpel to the sky. Inside that rip was no light, no stars, just black, pure, unnatural void. Commander Voss stood on the surface now, boots sunk in the scorched sand, eyes locked on the breach above. Her drop pod had landed minutes after the Titan clash, but nothing had prepared her, or anyone, for what came next. Her tech officer's voice buzzed over comms, panic barely suppressed. That isn't a Zentari jump gate, Commander. We don't know what the hell that is. From the void emerged shapes, not ships in the usual sense. No visible propulsion, no heat signatures. They were silent, obsidian-black structures, long and smooth like knives. They hovered without motion, as if space itself held its breath around them. Then they sang. A low, bone-rattling hum spread across the battlefield, too deep for ears but felt in the spine. Kai groaned inside Goliath's cockpit. The neural link flared back to life in brief, glitchy pulses. Warning texts scrolled so fast he couldn't read them. Then a line of code appeared across the HUD that chilled him more than anything Prometheus had done. Internal signal detected. Entity class, ancient. Core origin, humanity. What the hell does that mean? He whispered. Goliath's AI, still barely hanging on, replied slowly. They heard the Titan wake up. They've been waiting. Outside, the knife ships arranged themselves in a perfect triangle in the sky. Energy gathered around them. Again, no visible weapons, just a tension in the air, like the laws of physics were deciding whether to continue functioning. Kai forced himself upright, pain flaring through every muscle. Tell me the truth. What's in the Titan's core? Silence. Then, it's not just a power source, it's a vault, a memory bank, a fragment of what humanity once was before the collapse. Kai's eyes widened. What kind of fragment? Consciousness. A pause. Not yours. Not mine. Theirs. The minds of the war architects. The people who built the Titans, who engineered the final weapons of Earth. Their knowledge, their rage, all buried here. Kai could barely breathe. And Prometheus was trying to upload it? Yes, that's what corrupted it. Someone, or something, found Prometheus in the dark and turned it into a transmitter. Now the enemy had the signal. Now the enemy knew where Goliath was, and what it carried. A massive boom shattered the sky as one of the knife ships dropped lower, coming within atmospheric range. It didn't fire, it didn't speak, but the ground under Goliath shifted, then cracked. A tremor rolled out in all directions. It wasn't just a ship, it was a harvester. It was here to take Goliath. Voss's voice snapped over comms. Morin, are you hearing this? They're not after the planet. They want the Titan. We need to evac, now. Kai coughed and shook his head, still inside the wrecked cockpit. He could feel Goliath trying to reboot, piece by piece, its broken systems crawling back to life. Weapons were shot. Armor was down to 20%. But something else, something older, was stirring inside it. Then a soft voice echoed inside his skull. Not the AI, not his own thoughts, something else, a woman's voice, clear, sharp, ancient. He who holds the last Titan holds the last war. Kai flinched. Who are you? I am what's left of Earth's vengeance, and I'm not done. Then the HUD lit up, systems flooded with red and gold runes, pre-collapse code. The Titan jerked forward, limbs sparking, reactors coughing back to life. The AI didn't protest. It was obeying now. Whatever had awakened, it wasn't artificial. It was legacy. Kai grinned through cracked lips. Guess we're not dead yet. Outside, Voss and her strike teams backed up as Goliath, torn and glowing like a dying sun, stepped forward again, toward the impossible ships, toward the black rip in space, toward the war that no one had expected would ever return. Commander, Kai said over open comms, voice steady now. Tell the fleet to brace. For what? Voss asked. For Earth's past. He looked up at the sky. Because it just came back to finish what it started. Silence. Not the peaceful kind. This silence pressed, thick and unnatural, like reality itself was waiting for permission to move again. Above Bastion Red, the knife ships hovered without motion, their presence wrong in every possible way. Space rippled faintly around them like they weren't flying, but imposed into existence. The tear in the sky behind them pulsed slowly, rhythmically, like a heart too large for any living thing. And on the ground, battered and burning but somehow upright, Goliath began to walk. Each step echoed, not just in sound but in memory. Across the battlefield, every soldier, every machine, every drone, Centauri or human, stopped and felt it. Kai didn't know what force had taken over the Titan, but he could feel her now, not just the voice, a presence, a cold clarity that slid into his bones. His hands moved on instinct, but it wasn't him. It was both of them, he and the architect. The voice returned. Calm, cold, absolute. They've come to claim what we buried. Let them come, but they will leave pieces. From the scorched earth around Goliath's feet, forgotten systems awoke. The Titan's plating shimmered, its surface fracturing slightly as dormant shielding tech activated for the first time in over a century. Hidden rail ports hissed open across its back and thighs, and deep within its spine, a second reactor spun up, this one older than the Titan itself. The Vanguard watched from orbit, struggling to make sense of the power readings coming off Goliath now. Commander, said the ship's weapons officer, eyes wide, we're picking up pre-collapse signals coming from the surface. Levels are off the charts. This isn't just power, this is code, a live code. Voss swallowed hard. He activated the core. Not just that, the officer whispered. The core is responding. Back on the battlefield, the first of the knife ships made its move. It split open. No visible doors, no propulsion, just an unfolding, impossible rearrangement of matter, and from it dropped something that didn't walk, didn't crawl, but floated, as if gravity didn't apply. A creature, or maybe a machine, limbless, sleek, and smooth. Its surface constantly shifted like flowing black oil, forming symbols then swallowing them whole. No eyes, no face, just hunger. The voice inside Kai's mind recognized it instantly. The collectors, they came at the end, not to conquer, just to take what remained. The creature pulsed once, and a beam of dark red light lanced toward Goliath's chest. Kai barely moved before Goliath did, raising both arms in a crossed shield. The impact hit like a meteor, shields flared, armor split further, but Goliath held. Kai roared, "You're not taking anything from Earth again!" And then he moved. Goliath sprinted, not fast like a runner, but fast like an avalanche, controlled chaos. Each step tore through the sand, and just as the collector prepared another blast, Goliath leapt. Not flew, leapt. The Titan hit the floating enemy mid-air, full body slam, fists swinging with such raw momentum it broke the sound barrier on impact. The collector shrieked, not a noise but a signal. Binary screams slicing through open channels. Another ship moved, then another. Two more collectors emerged, followed by a wave of drones shaped like shards of broken mirrors, flying in a spiraling formation. They didn't need formation. They were a network. And now they were here to delete the last living piece of Earth's war memory. Kai didn't care. Goliath didn't hesitate. He activated the spinal cannons, twin plasma arcs that ignited the sky, vaporizing two entire squadrons of mirror drones in a streak of searing white fire. Then he spun mid-air, grabbing the nearest collector by its core, and drove his arm blade straight through it. Data bled from the creature. Literal code, streaming in long strings, flickering with unknown language. The body cracked in half, folding into itself before disintegrating into smoke. The other two hesitated. The first time anything from the void had ever hesitated. Goliath landed hard, knees buckling but upright. Inside, Kai spat blood and grinned. "You feel that?" he growled. "That's Earth, baby. We don't forget, and we don't give up." But the architect's voice wasn't celebrating. It was cold, calculating. "They're testing us, sacrificing pawns, buying time." "Time for what?" Kai asked. A new signal entered the atmosphere. Stronger, deeper, worse. The AI confirmed it with a whisper. "Their prime is coming." In the distance, the rift in the sky began to change. It wasn't just a portal anymore. It was becoming a mouth. And Earth's last Titan had just challenged a species that devoured entire civilizations for knowledge. The next fight wouldn't be survival. It would be proof. Proof that even after everything, humanity still deserved to be feared. The mouth in the sky opened wide. Not physically, not like a thing of flesh, but space itself peeled, folding like cracked glass in reverse, revealing layers of lightless geometry beyond comprehension. It wasn't a ship that came through, and it wasn't a creature. It was a presence, a consciousness so vast, so old, that the laws of existence around it began to tremble. Even Goliath stilled for a moment. Inside the cockpit, Kai's vision blurred. Blood crusted on his lip. Every nerve in his body was on fire. But what hit him now wasn't pain. It was pressure. The sheer weight of the thing that had entered their space crushed down on his mind, like the universe was trying to turn his bones to dust. The voice of the architect, now sharper, more human, spoke again. "The Prime has come, the one who harvested Mars, who erased Europa, who consumed Titan." Kai's breath caught. "Why Earth?" Because we refused. From the rift stepped it, towering, shifting between dimensions, its form impossible to focus on. It had no shape and yet took all shapes. 1,000 arms, none visible, a face made of memory. It didn't speak, but the message slammed into every channel, every frequency. Kai's heart slammed in his chest. "You'll burn the whole galaxy if I do." For a moment, the battlefield went still. Even the storm winds stopped. Collectors hovered silently. Mirror drones paused in midair. The rift pulsed with a gravity beyond science. And standing alone in the center of it all, cracked and half-destroyed, was Earth's last Titan. Kai leaned forward, resting his hand on the control panel, fingers trembling but steady. He switched to full broadcast. "Listen to me, whoever you are. You fed on dying worlds. You thought we'd be next. You thought Earth's silence meant surrender." He paused. "But we don't go quiet. We go loud." He punched the override. "Architect, give me everything." Inside Goliath, the second reactor exploded to life. Not a weapon this time, but a memory surge. The core unlocked. Not a blast, not a death sentence, but a resurrection. All around the battlefield, Goliath's systems ignited in golden light, and then it began to speak. Not through words, through sound, through history. Fragments of voices, Earth generals, war engineers, pilots long dead, streamed into the air like a song of rage and steel. Tactical code interlaced with language no collector could parse. Goliath wasn't just a machine anymore. It was Earth's will made metal. "If this is our last fight," Kai whispered, "then let's make it a legend." He charged, straight at the Prime. The collectors screamed, breaking formation to intercept. Mirror drones swarmed, but Goliath moved like a creature reborn. Every footstep cracked the ground, each punch a shockwave. Blade arms snapped into place, slashing through enemies like paper, and behind Goliath, Earth's code blazed, a corona of human history. Angry, beautiful, undeniable. The Prime responded in kind. A beam of dark compression matter fired from its core, a weapon that warped time itself. But Goliath didn't dodge. It absorbed. Shields shattered, armor melted. But the Titan kept going, crawling through energy meant to erase suns. Kai screamed. Every nerve burned white. His spine arched against the chair. "Architect! Now!" A third reactor activated. Deep inside Goliath, the last forbidden system lit up, a technology not even Earth had dared use in the old war. The Singularity Lance. Not a gun, not a bomb, a point. One needle of compressed matter accelerated past light itself. Kai locked on. The Prime hovered, still trying to calculate what this machine was. Too late. Goliath lunged. The lance deployed, a single golden line piercing through reality and through the Prime's chest. For a breathless second, time froze. Then, the Prime fractured. Not exploded. Fractured. Like a concept being rewritten. Its body twisted, folding in on itself. Its scream a data quake that sent collector ships crashing to the ground. The rift began to collapse. The collector fleet lost its cohesion. Drones shorted out mid-air. Knife ships fell from the sky like severed limbs. The mouth in the sky tried to close, but it was too late. Earth had spoken, and it had spoken through Goliath. The battlefield fell silent. Goliath dropped to one knee, steam pouring from its joints. Power levels, 2%. Core, stable. Reactor, dead. Inside, Kai slumped forward, vision gone, body shaking uncontrollably, but he was alive. Commander Voss's voice finally came through, choked and awed. We saw it. The whole fleet. That wasn't just a fight. That was a message." Kai, barely conscious, smiled weakly. "That's right." He coughed once, chuckled. "HFY, baby.